Hello everyone, this is Cikgu Munzir. So today we will discussing about chapter number 2, cell as a basic unit of life. So basically what will this chapter discuss is we will discuss about the basic, which is the cell itself, the type of cell that we have, the another type of cell that we have, and also few type of cells that we have in humans or animals and also in plants, the order of cell organization, systems in the human body, and also about cell respiration and photosynthesis. Now we want to go back to the basic, which they said cell as a basic unit of life. So here we have a picture of a house. A house is built by bricks. So if we don't have the bricks, then we cannot build the house. Same like the cell to our body, for example. The cell is a basic for us, the humans. And in fact, for all living organisms, it all need to start from a single cell. So here we can conclude that all living things will have this cell. Now, the idea of this cell came from one scientist named Robert Hooke. In 1665, he invented a simple microscope to observe a piece of cork. And what he can see that this cork, they are made up of these small box-shaped structures. Therefore, he named the structures as cell. Now, cell act like a factory where thousands of chemical reaction will occur in every single cell, in every organism, every day. Cell also will undergo the cell division process. How the cell division process happen? It will start from a single cell that we will call as a mother cell. Now what this cell will do is that they will divide themselves. If you can see here, we have few stages. It will form a cleavage. It will separate the nucleus. As you can see here, this yellow circle shape in this cell, they are known as nucleus. So they will spread this nucleus to become two daughter cell. So how the cell do cell division? They have one mother cell. This is the mother cell, and this mother cell will divide themselves to become two daughter cell. This is one daughter cell, and this is another one daughter cell. And from these two daughter cell, it will divide themselves. This one cell will become another two daughter cell, and this cell will divide itself to become another two. And this cell division will repeat every single second. And that is how we grow. And speaking about growth, how the human start their life. First, we came from our father and also our mother. So the father will give his sperm and the mother will give her ovum. And this sperm and ovum is in fact an example of a cell. So this sperm and this ovum, they will do one process called fertilization. And after fertilization, it will form a one cell known as zygote. So this is our start of our life. So from zygote, it will develop to become embryo, develop to become fetus, and lastly will develop to become baby. Then this baby was born and there is a complete organism. Right, now every living things will undergo this cell division process at a normal rate. At a normal rate. They will have their own rate. In 1 minute, how many cells will produced. And now, some abnormalities might happen. Abnormalities. Sorry. Some abnormalities will happen. And that abnormalities is when the cell undergo abnormal rate for the cell division. What will happen? It will start to produce extra cell. Extra cell. And that extra cell known as cancer cell. Now this extra cell keep on developing to become tumor. And as you can see here, this is our skin layer. Normally at this tumor stage, we did not notice, right? We did not notice this cell. But once it start to grow abnormally and past our skin cell, it start to be visible for our eyes. And that we know when we had a cancer. So basically, what is cancer? Cancer is when our cell undergo abnormal cell division rate. Abnormal cell division rate. Okay, so this cancer nowadays becoming a very, very normal. So it is not a surprise if any of us had this cancer, right? But we don't want this cancer to happen to any of our family members. So what we can do, we can try our best to avoid this growth of the cell cancer. Okay, so that is the introduction for the cell. Cell is a basic unit for all the living things. A single cell acts as a factory where thousands of chemical reaction will occur in every single cell every single day, and all the cell they will do cell division, which produce a new cell every single time. And if they have abnormal cell division rate, then it can start to develop a cancer cell. Right, next we want to see the type of cells. Okay, so our organisms they are divided into two groups of organism. We have plants, we have animals. These are two major group of organisms that we will have. So we human, where do we belong? We belong under this animal group, human. And speaking about the microorganism, the bacteria and everything, they will belong under these two groups, plants and also animals. Right, now we want to see the structure of this cell, animal cell and also a plant cell. Right, so first we look in terms of the shape. Plant cell, they will have a fixed shape, and this animal cell, they will have a not fixed shape. Right, now we want to see the structure starting with the plant cell. As you can see, we have few items here. We have chloroplast, we have cell membrane, mitochondria, vacuole, cytoplasm, cell wall and nucleus for the plant cell. All of these things, they are called as organelle. Organelle. Okay, the structure of this cell. Now we will start with the cell membrane. Okay, cell membrane is a layer. If you can see, I put the lines here. Cell membrane is a layer that control the flow of materials in and out of the cell. So we knew that this cell, right, they will do the chemical reaction in their cell. So how they let this material to be in and out of the cell, it will go through the cell membrane. Secondly, we have the mitochondria. Mitochondria used to produce energy for the reaction. So if the mitochondria did not produce the energy, then the chemical reaction that about to take place in this plant cell will not happen. Right? Next, we have vacuole. Vacuole looks like this pool of water inside the plant cell, used to provide support to cell when filled with the cell sap. Right? Then we have cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is like a big field inside the cell. Right? All green area here that you can see, they are known as cytoplasm. So this cytoplasm act as a medium where chemical reaction will occur. So basically all the chemical reaction will happen in this cytoplasm. Next, the cell wall. If you still remember just now, I talked about cell membrane. Cell membrane is this layer in the cell. And the cell wall is the outer layer after the cell membrane. So what this cell wall do? It provides support to the cell, protect the cell, and also making the plant cell to have a fixed shape. How fixed the shape? You can see this plant cell, they have a rectangular shape. Okay, so this rectangular shape happen because there is presence of cell wall. Right, now we came to the brain of the cell, which known as nucleus. Right, control all activities in the cell. Like we know before, a cell is like a factory where all chemical reaction happens in there. Who control this chemical reaction? It will be the nucleus. So nucleus will give the instruction, nucleus will control the rate of the reaction in the cell. And also the nucleus contain chromosome consisting of deoxyribonucleic acid, or also known as DNA, that carries genetic information. So how the plants look, right? What color of the flower that the plants produce, all is in this DNA inside the nucleus. Right? And then lastly, we have the chloroplast. Chloroplast used to absorb light energy for the process of photosynthesis. So we knew that the plants, they cannot eat, right, to get the food like us, the human, like the rest of the animals. So how the plants survive? They will make their own food from the photosynthesis process. And which organelle in the cell that is responsible for this photosynthesis process? It will be the chloroplast. Right, now we're done with the plant cell. We want to see the animal cell. Animal cell is like much simpler than the plant cell. You can see only 4 organelles. We have cell membrane, mitochondria, nucleus, and also cytoplasm. The functions of these 4 organelles are the same with the plant cell. Nucleus contain the DNA, control all activities in the animal cell. Mitochondria produce energy for the reaction to occur inside this animal cell. Cell membrane control the flow of materials in and out of the cell. And also cytoplasm, the medium where all these chemical reaction occur. Now if we want to compare between this animal and the plant cell, there will be few difference. Right? We can turn to page 52. We can see this comparison between animal cell and the plant cell. You can see the bubble in the middle here. We have nucleus, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and mitochondria. These 4 organelles are in both animal and also plant cell. And there are 4 differences. Okay, 1. Cell wall. Animal cell has no cell wall. Plant cell has cell wall. Second, chloroplast. Animal cell don't have the chloroplast, but the plant cell do have the chloroplast. And then third is the vacuole. The animal cell has no vacuole, but the plant cell do has vacuole. And fourth difference is in terms of the shape. Plant cell will have a fixed shape because there are a presence of cell wall. But for the animal cell, there has no fixed shape. Why? Because there is no cell wall in the animal cell. Right. Next, we want to see the unicellular and multicellular organism. We want to go to the words itself. Alright, let me just wipe this out first. Okay, now we want to see the difference. What is unicell? What is multicell? We need to identify this word first. Uni and multi. Okay, uni means one. And then multi means more than one. So a unicell is a living things that exists as only one cell. You can see I will highlight here. Unicellular organism, uni means one, are organism that consist of only one cell. While multicell, multi means many, more than one, are organisms that consist of more than one cell. Okay, so we look at this unicell organism first. Living things that exist as only a single cell. So we have this amoeba and paramecium. Right, amoeba and paramecium is examples of unicell in the animal kingdom. Okay, in the animal kingdom. So how they survive? They survive by finding food. Right? For example, the amoeba, they will engulf to find the food, to eat the food. And then cilia, they will do the same. Except this cilia, they able to swim. Okay, the paramecium, they able to swim. Because if you can see these hairy structures outside of this cilia, that is outside of this paramecium, they are known as cilia. So this cilia makes the paramecium able to swim. Where can we find both of these amoeba and paramecium? Right, normally we can get them, or we can get them from the water, the pond water. Okay, right, next we have this Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is also a unicell organism, but in the plant kingdom. Okay, like I already mentioned before that in our organism category, there are only 2 major groups, which is plants and animals. Right, so this unicell also they will only have 2. Either they are animal or they are plants. So the amoeba and the paramecium just now belongs to the animal group, and this Chlamydomonas, they're in the plant groups. So what we need to know about these Chlamydomonas, since they are in the plant kingdom, right, they will not get the food like the paramecium and the amoeba just now. But how they survive is that these Chlamydomonas, they will do photosynthesis. Okay, because they are in the plant group. Right, next we have this Euglena. Euglena has the characteristics of both plants and animal. So that makes Euglena special. Why? Because it can make its own food using sunlight like the plants, and also can move like animals. So that is about Euglena. Right, now we want to go into multicellular organism. Right, we as a human, we inside our body consists of a lot of cell, different type of cell. So that makes us a multi-cell organism. Humans, cats, right? The flowers, Hydra, Spirogyra, Mucor, we are all multicellular because inside our body, inside this cat's body, there are more than one cell. Okay, and I want to remind you that this cell is very, very small, that we cannot see. Okay, we cannot see the cell using our naked eyes. We need to put the sample, we need to put the cell under the microscope, then only we able to see this cell, right? So next, we want to discuss about the types and the functions of animal cells and plant cells. We go to the human first, right? So here are few cells that we have inside our body. Okay, we have the nerve cell, we have the blood cells, we have the reproductive cell, we have muscle cell, and we also have this epithelium cell. Right, we start with the nerve cell. Right, nerve is a one important part of our body because it connects our brain to whole parts of the body. It contains a long fibers that function to carry information in form of impulse to all parts of the body. So how our brain sends signal for our hand to move? It will go through this nerve cell. How the brain send the signal to the legs if we are tired walking, so it will go through this nerve cell. So everything inside our body will be controlled by the brain, and the brain will send signal in form of impulse through this nerve cell. That is one example. Other than that, we have this red blood cell. Okay, red blood cell is the only cell that has no nucleus. This is one special thing about this red blood cell. The only cell that has no nucleus. Okay, the shape is a biconcave disc shape. Why is it biconcave disc shape? Because they want to increase the surface area, because they want to carry the oxygen gas. So the blood cell will carry and transport the oxygen throughout our whole body. Right, this red blood cell color is red. Why is it red and how is it red? They contain, right, one thing called hemoglobin. So this hemoglobin, they have two functions. One function is to hold the oxygen. Okay, to hold the oxygen. Red blood cell is like a car. Inside the car got the seat. Seat hold the passenger or the driver. So for this case, the red blood cell is like a car, the hemoglobin is like the seat, and the oxygen is like the passenger. So this red blood cell will use the hemoglobin to hold the oxygen when they want to transport the oxygen. And another one functions of this hemoglobin is to give the red color to our blood. That is why our red blood cell color is red, because of this hemoglobin. Right, and also this red blood cell used to transport the carbon dioxide from cells in all parts of the body back to the lungs. Right, this is in gas exchange process. Right, if we want to go about that, it will take some time. Right, so just for you to know that these red blood cells, they used to carry oxygen and also carbon dioxide through our body. Other than red blood cell, we also have these white blood cells. White blood cell, they have different functions compared to the red blood cell. White blood cell, they act more as our body defense system. Body defense system. How? They will change their form to surround the foreign particles and will destroy them, right? This process is called phagocytosis. Phagocytosis. You can go to YouTube and you can find this phagocytosis to see how the white blood cell help our body as a defense system against foreign particles. Foreign particles here includes the bacteria, the viruses, right? Those are the job for this white blood cell. Next, we have the reproductive cells. Right, sperm for the man, ovum for the woman. Sperm carry male genetic materials and ovum carry female genetic materials. Right? Where they store these genetic materials? Recall back, we have the nucleus. Right? Inside the nucleus, they contain DNA. So inside this DNA where they will store and carry this genetic material. That is how, right, we look like our mom and also our dad, because we carry the characteristic. Okay, we carry the genetic from our mom and dad. Next, we have the muscle cell that will contract and relax to enable movement. And also lastly, we have these epithelium cells, form a layer that protect organs in the body. These cells also secrete mucus. So the epithelium cell is like a layer that will grow and protect all the organs inside our body. That is for the animal cell. Next, we have plant cell. Okay, plant cell is quite simple. They have this epidermal cell and also the palisade cell. Epidermal cell is the a layer that is covering this plant cell. They have upper epidermis and they will have this lower epidermis. Upper epidermis is the top part of the leaf, as an example. Then this one, lower epidermis, is the bottom part of this leaves. So upper epidermis, the functions to reduce water loss, allow gases exchange, and also allow the absorptions of water and nutrients. Next, we also have this palisade cell that contain chlorophyll to absorb sunlight to do the photosynthesis. And if you can see here at the lower epidermis, right, we have this gut cell. Right, this gut cell control the opening and the closing of the stoma. It's like a door. Right, so there are two conditions. Right, there are two conditions where this stoma, where this gut cell will close their stoma. One is during night. Second is during hot day, because we knew these plants, they rely their lives on the sunlight and also the water. If there is no water, they cannot do photosynthesis. If there is no sunlight, they also cannot do the photosynthesis. So in order to keep these plants survive, the gut cell here, they will control this opening and closing of this stoma. Right, during the day, if the temperature is not so hot, it will just open the stoma so that the water, right, can get in and out of the plants. But if at night, no sunlight, so no photosynthesis happening, they will close their door. Or if the day is too hot, right, the day is too hot, then they will also close the stoma so that there will be less water loss from the plants. Okay, right, that those are few examples of type of cell that we have in our body. Right, next we want to see this order of cell organization. So for an organism, for us, we are human. Before we exist as a human, as a one complete organism, before we came out from our mother's womb with all these perfect creatures from the God, we all will start from a single cell, right? From a cell, this cell will do cell division, develop to become tissues. After that, the tissue will develop to become organs, and these organs, few organs, combine together to become a system, and this system will combine together, makes us a complete organism, right? If you can see from here the examples, epithelium cell, right, develop to become epithelium tissues, develop to become stomach as one organ, stomach merge, combine together with the mouth, with the esophagus, with the small intestine and large intestine to make a complete digestive system, and this system combine together along with a different system in our body that at the end will resemble a complete organism, right? Same like the plants, right? And speaking about system, right? Speaking about system, we want to discuss about the system that we have in our body. There are 11, okay? There are 11 main system that we have in our body. These 11 main system, they are different from one to another, and they have different functions. And all of this system is important for us, to continue our daily activities. That if one of these system paralyzed or dysfunction, then we will start to have diseases, right? Starting with the first one, we will have the excretory system. Okay, so excretory system is a system that will remove the waste from our body. For example, lungs used to remove the carbon dioxide from our body. Kidney used to filter the water inside our body, right? And then remove the excess water in form of urine, as an example. And then the skin will remove the excess waste from our body. One example is the sweat as instance. Right, next we have skeletal system. We have skulls, we have bones that give us support, right, and protects the inner organs such as the lungs, right? The lungs is somewhere around here. It is protected by our rib cage. Okay, the brain is inside here, protected by our skull, right? So these bones, this skeletal system give us the structure. How we can stand very straight is because of this skeletal system. Next, we have lymphatic system. What this system will do, they will drain the lymphatic fluids into our blood vessels to protect our body from infections of bacteria, viruses, and others, right? For example, we have thymus to produce particular white blood cell. White blood cell used to fight these foreign particles inside our body, right? Same, we have the bone marrow to produce the red blood cell and also the platelets for our blood. Next, we have digestive system. This system is like very common, very familiar with us. So because every day we will eat and we will drink, so where this food and drink will go, it will go and processed by this digestive system. Break down complex food into simpler form so it is more easily absorbed by the body. For example, we eat rice. Rice is a source of carbohydrate. So how from the rice converted into carbohydrate, this is how the digestive system will do the work. So from the mouth, it will chew the rice, go into esophagus, the stomach will clean the food, all right, and then the carbohydrate will be absorbed when they are in the small intestines to our body. That is how we get our energy from the rice. We eat the meat or the chicken, right? They will be processed by this digestive system before we will take in the protein, right, in form of amino acid, right? So this digestive system will do the work. Next, we have the muscular system. If just now the skeletal system makes us able to stand, giving us the structure, this muscle helps in the movements of the body and also the inner organs. Why we can lift our hand? Because of the muscle around here. Right, why we can move? Because we have the leg muscle. Right, next system is the integumentary system. Protect the body from dehydration and regulates the body temperature. Next, we have the nervous system. This nerve system, like I already explained before, is one of the most important system inside our body. It connects the brain to our whole body parts. Okay, we have this spinal cord and we have the sub, or also known as the nerve, to carry information from the brain to the entire body in forms of impulse. So the ability for us to move it all because the brain sending us the signal through this nervous system. Right. The next system is the blood circulatory system. We have heart as our engines of our body. This heart works 24/7 every single second, right, to pump the blood to our body, right? So this blood, they will move from the heart to the lungs, back to the heart, and then out to our body. Why? To carry oxygen, to carry nutrients, to carry hormones to all parts of the body, right? Next, respiratory system, the thing that we did every second, breathe in, breathe out, inhalation, exhalation, will control by our respiratory system. We breathe in through the nose, gets in to the pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchus, and then to our lungs. So this lung that will do the process to absorb oxygen, to release the carbon dioxide from our body. That is in the responsibility of the respiratory system. Right, next we have endocrine system. Produce hormones that required to coordinate the reactions in the body. Right, for example, we have this male body, they have the testes to produce the hormone for the reproduction, right, which only activated after we reach the puberty. Okay, and for the women, they will have the ovary that will produce the ovum after they reach the puberty as well, right? And then last system that we have in our body is this reproductive system. Okay, to produce sperm and ovum to produce offspring for the next generation, right? So that is all for this 2.1, cell as a basic units of life, and I will see you in 2.2 to discuss about the cell respiration and photosynthesis. Bye bye.